Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So over the past year, you know that I've been using my Escapod trailer, and during that time I've been pretty transparent about any issues and all issues that I've seen, pros, cons, everything. Right from the small issues I've had with things like a magnet being not strong enough to the big issues like the big leak that I had. And so this video is going to touch base on how my support went with that company. We're going to go over the purchasing the trailer, how that process worked with the customer support, what I thought about that. Then we're going to talk about more general, how you get things resolved once you have your trailer. And then finally, we'll talk about specifically the issue with the big leak that I had and how that ended up being fixed and what my overall thoughts of the customer support is. So let's get into it. So for the first part, we're going to talk about the purchasing portion of that, and that's the salesperson all the way through to actually getting the trailer. My salesperson was Troy, really did a good job. I don't have anything really negative to say about him besides maybe the fact that he could have transferred me over to the next person, which would have been Kaylee, who's their customer coordinator. That person is really who you're going to deal with as far as a customer support or customer service for your purchasing portion of owning the trailer or getting the trailer. The salesperson takes the info, gets it all in there. Yes, he answered questions. Yes, he got me in the right path. And he did a general good job. But Kaylee is kind of that coordinator that once you've decided to buy the trailer, she's the one that's going to coordinate actually getting that all to you. For some reason, I didn't get a sense of a good warm handoff to Kaylee. So all in all, that again, and you're going to see this kind of as a common theme actually throughout the customer service, where for whatever reason, the next step doesn't have what I would call a warm transfer, a warm handoff to that next person that's going to take over for you. Now, the customer coordinator, Kaylee, she did, it was interesting because with her, there was a big portion where I'm not communicating with anybody because I'm waiting for my trailer to be built. So I get some information, I fill out a form that says, hey, this is how I want to be contacted, this is my information, bop, 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 but then I really don't hear anything. And that I think is by design because I'm waiting for my trailer to be made. One of the negatives that I found with that portion was that she actually has other parts. She's not actually at her desk. She has to be away from her desk to perform her job duties. And she doesn't have cell service. She's relying on Wi-Fi, I believe. And so I couldn't reach her via phone. I had to email her. And at the same time, I'm emailing somebody who's not always at their desk. And there was a couple times where it took a while, 3-4 days before I'd get a response back. And to give you an idea is, once that process gets to those last final weeks, those days feel long because you're excited to get this trailer and I'm trying to coordinate my side of it as well. And so I'm looking for information and I wasn't getting it as well. Now, once I got a hold of her, everything was perfect. She did everything just fine. Answered all my questions. She was very knowledgeable. You could tell she's working. She's out there doing her thing. I just feel as though it would be better if there was a phone number that was easier to reach her. But once I did, it was great. Now, if you fast forward, Kaylee also does the portion when you get your trailer at your house. She will do like a Zoom call or some sort of video chat with you to go over that trailer. And this is where she shined. She did, I originally went into that process thinking, okay, how in depth can this really get on a video call? But somehow she made it work seamlessly. It walked me through the trailer. I don't know if she has a script or what she has, but it really did flow very well. I would say, I don't even think we were on there for a half hour and I felt like, wow, I just got everything I needed to know. And it was really, really well done. All right, the next portion was the finance person. So that's Joshi. Joshi, I believe, actually has a stake in the company. I'm not sure. I think he's like a partner or something like that, which makes sense when you got your finance guy in a small company. You're going to want that person to be pretty much concrete in the company. But Joshi was solid. I don't think this is where communication, and everybody on the Escapod team could learn a little bit about communication with Joshi. He answered every phone call and every email pretty much immediately. Things needed to happen fast, and he was there to answer questions very fast. I also had a hiccup with my bank because he I needed to get some documents, but my bank was expecting different documents. It was kind of weird, but he handled that himself. I actually called my bank, and I just would call Joshy. He would answer immediately and be on the phone call with my bank to try to sort these things out. All right, so let's talk about the customer support when you have your trailer and you have an issue or you have questions, some sort of concern, whatever that is. How does that process look? So what you do is you reach out to their customer support team via email. They don't have a phone number. You really can't reach out to anybody. And again, common theme here, I was reaching out to Kaylee and Joshy to try to get some of my issues resolved, thinking that's who I needed to continue to reach out to. And they never gave me that lowdown. Here's who you contact when you have a problem. And Kaylee actually responded back to one of my emails and basically said, hey, I'm going to forward this over to our support team. But I never heard anything back. And so that's where I would, again, knock that whole warm transfer off. Like, set up an email, transfer, or send that information over, but CC me in on that so I know who it's supposed to go to. They took about 2 days to respond to that email. So not bad. It wasn't a long time, and it wasn't crucial that I got that response right away. So I felt that it was adequate through email. After the email support, they said, we will send you the taillight, and they made a document for how I can replace it myself. And so if it's something you're able to do by yourself, they will send you the parts and walk you through a guide or through some sort of document. I do think that they could improve on that by making every document also come with a YouTube video of some sort to walk you through the process. I think it's worth it. Now, as far as who's responding to you in those emails, at the time I was working with a guy named Chris, who I think is actually also a partner with the company right now. So he's not currently in charge of this department. However, he was responsive and very articulate. Emails were great. The information was right. The documents seemed good. However, I did have to ask for follow-up emails to get like things like the tracking number and things like that. That wasn't sent to me right away. And so I feel as though, yes, you're going to get good customer service through that email chain, especially if it's something that you don't need sent to you. You're just looking for information. It will probably take 24, 48 hours for them to respond back, but it's adequate information. I don't think that they have a ton of people, and so they may be getting a lot of inquiries, and I felt as though the smaller issues could fall through the cracks if they're dealing with something bigger. Now, let's say your issue is that same tail light, but you don't want to work on it yourself. You don't feel comfortable, or you're not mechanically inclined. The next step that they'll do is, and this actually did happen for me when I was dealing with my leak, right? One of the things they'll do is they'll reach out to try to find somebody to fix it. For me, I ended up getting sent over to Wilkins RV, pretty close to where I live, and they took care of everything. Chris actually contacted them, made the appointment, asked me. He was the middleman for that, so I didn't have to get pawned off, right? He didn't say, hey, contact this company, contact here, do all the logistics and we'll pay for it. No, he took care of the logistical part and paid for it. And all I had to do was maybe answer an email on when I'm available. Or, when I went there, I had to obviously drop it off and interface that way. But outside of that, he pretty much took care of everything for me. And so I have to say that part of that process was top notch. And I didn't have to beg and plead for me to get somebody. Once I told them, I don't feel comfortable doing this, I really want somebody else to do it, that's when I got that additional support. And I have to say, I did ask Wilkins RV for at least how much roughly it cost just for the labor. And I gotta tell you, these RV mechanics are getting paid, must be getting paid a lot, or it's just the RV dealership or whatever. But it was very expensive to get the things fixed I needed fixed. And I didn't hear any complaints by Escapod or by Chris that it was too expensive to take it to X, Y, and Z place. Now, the last thing that they will offer is if for some reason it's something that they can't reliably send you to another RV place for, or it's something that they don't feel comfortable that RV person will do a good job, or maybe there's just nothing local even near you that has the capabilities to fix something to the specifications they want it fixed to, they will actually send a engineer out to fix it at your house. This did end up happening to me, and we'll go over that when I talk about my leak, but this process is quite expensive for them. And again, when they decided to do this, I didn't have to worry about anything. I didn't have to house a person or coordinate anything. The person just showed up, who's Cam. in my experience, it was Cameron, who I think is in charge of that department now, believe it or not. So it worked out really good for me. The process was smooth. They show up and then they fix it, and then they will fly back out. All right, so ultimately, the leak in the trailer that I had to follow this process all the way through, from an email to getting the phone call to trying to fix it myself, taking it to an RV place to have a professional fix it, and then ultimately having somebody from Escapod come to my house and fix it. And I can tell you this, the process did work. There are some things that might make you a little bit stressed. Some lessons that I learned from it was, one, if you're not comfortable fixing it or you really just want somebody who is a professional to fix it, let them know that. I really didn't get as much pushback as I thought I was going to get when I did ask to have a professional work on it. So it's not as big of a concern as I thought. I also would add, don't get upset if you do have don't let that affect you right away. See, I had some anxiety and some issues because I didn't know what to expect. And I was kind of scared that, hey, is this ever going to get fixed? Is there ever going to be a solution? But in all reality, this was a month. This was from basically July 1st to, I don't know, maybe August, sometime in August, early to mid-August is when it was finally resolved. By the time I'm camping in September, my last video of the summer, Labor Day weekend, it was fixed. Everything was working smooth and no issues. So all in all, that's really not a lot of time. I had some anxiety with it because I really wanted to camp in July. So keep that in mind. Some advice I can give Escapod, if anybody's watching this, is call your customers, let them know the process, and I would say continue to stand by your product, because that is the difference between making it and not making it in the industry, in my opinion. And I'm glad that I'm getting that support, and I'm glad that it's going to be for 5 years. I will get the same level of support going forward, and I'm excited for that. So hopefully this video was helpful to somebody out there. Leave a comment down below. If you have an Escapod, have you had the same experience? Are you getting the same customer support? And if you don't have an Escapod, what about your customer support? Have you had issues? Does your dealership resolve them? Do they make you pay for extra things? Do you have to jump through hoops? What's it like for a timeline? Do they fix it quickly? Let me know in the comments below. And I guess until next time, I'll see you.